we are in week 11. So if you have not already done so under the week 11 videos, make sure you check out the chapter 9 lecture. That's going to go over the content of the course that's going to help you for the assignments that are associated. So let's click in here. So this is kind of another like normal week, if you will. You have a discussion post, your original response by Wednesday for week 11 attendance, responded to classmates by Sunday. You have a chapter 9 assignment called the Civility Project, and then you have your chapter 9 quiz. So let's jump in. Your discussion forum, and a lot of this, if you're not sure what any of this is, watch the lecture video or get into your textbook and read it, so that way you know exactly what they're talking about when they're mentioning incivility. So it says, have you ever witnessed incivility in person or an argument in the news? Now, odds are the news, you've seen something like that. Whether it's like an actual news report, it's just something going on that you've witnessed at an event, you know, whatever that might be. It could be with something that you've personally been involved in or that you've just seen other people involved in. So describe what happened. So I kind of like to think about this, 150 words, like half and half. Give context. What happened in this issue? What happened in this situation? So that everyone, including myself, knows why this might be an issue with incivility. Why this particular example you're using would fit this post, this prompt. So describe what happened. And then why do you think people are willing to shut down communication over issues they are passionate about? We see this very often, in the big ones like religion, politics. People usually, they might get nasty with their words and their facial expressions and emotions, but they also might just shut down. And so why do you think that happens? Why do you think people shut down communication when they're really passionate about something? Because it's not bad to be passionate about those things, but why do you think communication sometimes hits those roadblocks whenever people are passionate about certain issues? So make sure you post that response by Wednesday for your weekly attendance. Again, 150 words. Most of you are doing really well hitting that, right around that area. But again, if you're significantly under, I'm seeing posts around 100 words, I am taking points off for that. And then your response to 2 classmates is due by Sunday. And this is where I want you to dig in as if you were having a conversation with them in the classroom. Ask them a question, give a follow-up example, compare, contrast what you've said, really make sure you're interacting. All right. Next up is your civility project. This is due Sunday, so it's going to open up into a PDF up here. And you see that you have 2 examples. And it says, choose 2 examples of incivility in the media. So whether it's a video, a post, a tweet, a TikTok, it doesn't matter. It can be social media related, some kind of interview, a meme, anything like that. So you're going to write what it is. Now, if it is a YouTube video or if it's a link somewhere, put the link there so that I can click it and I can see what you're talking about. If it's a meme or like a GIF or something like that, go ahead and attach that as a picture so I can, again, see what you're talking about. So you put down what the example is, and you can see this is the same for both. What is being depicted, just real quickly, like what's going on? Like, oh, this is an interview or this is an altercation between whatever it might be. Who is the audience for? So if it's like a news report, obviously the audience is just like the general public. If this happened at a sports event, this would be like the audience would be people who enjoy sports. It just kind of depends on who the audience is. What is the purpose of the example? Like what was going on in the example? Like what was the point? Were people trying to have a discussion? Were people trying to play a game? Were people trying to have a debate? Were people trying to poke fun of someone? Like what was the purpose? Why is an example of incivility? Like what about it is like disrespectful or showing how to not communicate in a proper way with other people? What motivated the creator? What do you think motivated the creator? Whether it's like the speaker, the illustrator, or the poster. And what do you think is the result? Did it make people think? Did it make people wonder? So one example that I used, this is about 2 years ago now, was that Chris Rock and Will Smith incident at the Oscars, right? That was a big news line for a while. And then it came up again last year because Chris Rock had a special. So that was like a big issue of incivility. That's not what they were calling it, but obviously like things were said and done that were probably not the best way to go about the situation. And so that was like one example in the media that was very prevalent. I will tell you that politics tend to have a lot of examples of incivility. So you could probably Google any type of debate or any kind of posting from politicians today, and you're going to see some of those examples. So you're going to come up with 2 examples. I'm just going to type here so I can make sure I save it. And then when you're done, you know, as always, upper right hand, make sure you save it with your changes so that you get all of your answers right in there. And then you'll go back in, click there, and make sure that you upload your file after you've saved it. Okay, so again, if you're not 100% sure, like I don't know what incivility is, go back into your textbook, chapter 9, Understanding Civility and Cultural Competence, and it's going to go through exactly what civility and incivility focuses on. I know I'm doing a lot of scrolling, but like down toward the bottom, there we go. Civility versus incivility. This whole section talks about all of this, and really the whole chapter. And it talks about debate and how we should kind of carry ourselves. I also, again, have a lecture video posted in week 11 that goes over, you know, the content of this chapter in detail. So go ahead and look at that there. So again, that should give you some basis of understanding. All right, so then the next thing that you're going to do after you do your civility project is your chapter 9 quiz. So here's your chapter 9 quiz. As always, it's going to be a Word document. We're going to open it up right here. So it says your philosophy professor has asked the class to devise a set of rules to guide classroom discussions. What 3 rules would you suggest and why? And I actually just kind of had those up here a second ago, like rules for fair debate. You could actually kind of look through here and look at these quote unquote rules of things that you should be doing, or people in general should be doing when they're debating. And so maybe pick 3 of those and why those 3 would you implement. Consider the 4 types of identity mentioned in our book: personal identity, role, social, and collective, and reflect on and write about a time when one of those was important to you. So it talks about identity in section 9.2. This whole thing where it says, who am I? Here's personal, role, social, collective. So you can look there and talk about when one of those were important to you and why. What is the purpose of Title IX and why is Title IX important in education? So kind of, there we go. Section 9.3 is going to go over Title IX in particular. So you can look through there and get some basis for that. Question 4, what's the difference between equality and equity? There is a difference, and there's actually I really like the graphic that they use for it right here. So like kind of the difference between those 2 ideas. And then finally, if one of your professors neglected to include contributions of an underrepresented group, what could you do to support that inclusion? All right, so then you'll save and submit that as well. All right, so real quick recap, you have your Chapter 9 post due by Wednesday for attendance, responded to classmates by Sunday, the Civility Project by Sunday, and the Chapter 9 quiz by Sunday. Have a great week.